And so I think it's a way to connect. I've always enjoyed the fact that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're, 6 months experience or 40 years experience. You're basically doing the same work. And so you have that connection. You're not necessarily promoted because of experience, like sometimes in other fields. So you can have that camaraderie and that relationship with people who, really are in a different phase of their life, different situations with family. But when you come through those school doors, you are one. You have that. You're working towards the same thing. And so I think that's pretty unique. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Mary Vandermolen. Mary is the superintendent at North Star Montessori Academy in Marquette, Michigan. Mary, I almost messed it up.
No, you're
Thank you
fine.
for being here today. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, people have heard the word Montessori, and some understand what it is and some don't. So let's talk about your where you've come from and your role, and a little bit about North Star
Sure.
Montessori Academy.
Sure. This is my 41st year in education, public education.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. Most of it has been spent in what we would call a traditional school setting, K through 12, central office, special education. 4 years ago, I made the move to Marquette to become the school leader here at North Star Montessori Academy. It was actually my first exposure to a Montessori approach. And so I have learned a lot, but I still have a lot to learn regarding it. But the Montessori approach is really focuses on the whole child. In a lot of ways, it isn't different than a good, just approach for what's best for the student. One of the keys that we really focus on is the prepared environment. Setting things up for student success. You may or may not know, Maria Montessori really studied the different stages of development and aligned the Montessori teachings to match those. So we're looking at creating a very comfortable, safe, and a home-like space. You won't see any traditional lighting, any traditional roles. Often there is not a teacher desk. So it's really, when you walk into the classroom, it looks different.
No rows. No rows.
No.
No rows of seats.
No
and-
rows.
with a desk at the front,
Yep.
right?
Lots of floor space, lots of gathering on the floor. Kids are free to do their work from the floor or from their tables in their various groupings.
Neat.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to move to Marquette? Marquette's way up there. I know a little bit. It's up there.
I moved. It's about 450 miles from where I was.
Wow.
We had been coming up here to spend some vacations and really fell in love with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Our hope, my husband and I, our hope one day is this will be where we are when we are fully retired. And so I found the job opportunity and I came in for an interview. It was interesting. They offered Zoom interviews at the time because it was so far away. But I said, no, I need to go. And I came in and I interviewed with the principal and the school leader at the time. And it was just like, it was so different than anything I had ever experienced before. And I worked in great districts. I was surrounded by great people really much for my whole career. But this was just different.
Right.
It was small, which I was not used to, where people wear many different hats because we just don't have, the support to have everybody be able to focus on one thing. Right. And so I just felt the community and that family, that feeling right from the start. And when I was offered the job, I said, I will be there.
Awesome. One of the things that you said at the beginning when you were introducing yourself was, I'm still learning. And I love the fact that 41 years into your career, you're still learning. Because that's us. We never stop learning. And I think if you stop as a leader, you're no longer a leader, really.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's, you're always learning. And as we know, with many years of experience, there are initiatives that come and go. But
Hmm.
really, if you just keep focusing on getting better, we talk a lot about the growth mindset, um, and just, moving forward all the time. And I think in order to do that, I think you have to really have a passion for what you do. And, 41 years, it hasn't always been easy, but I truly believe that this is the most important work that anyone
Hmm.
can do. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a message that the United States of America needs to hear. Our public needs to hear that
yes,
message because
absolutely.
it's so important. And I mean, it's part of the reason why Brighter Together
Hmm.
exists so that we
Hmm.
can get these stories out. So tell us a little bit specifically about North Star Montessori Academy. And we talked a little bit about Montessori and about you,
Hmm.
but tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about the school and what's going on there.
Yeah, so we are a small pre-K through eighth grade public school academy, focusing on the Montessori approach. The school, as a Montessori school, has only been in existence since about 2010. Prior to that, it was a more a traditional school. We have about 140 students. We have about 25 staff. We're located in Marquette, Michigan, which is the largest city in the Upper Peninsula, about 20,000 people. We're home to Northern Michigan University, so that, gives us a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of cultural things happening, um, sports events. It's a very, to live in the harsh climate, I guess. You got to love to be outdoors, and you got to
Yeah.
learn to adapt. And it's interesting that as part of Maria Montessori's approach, it was that outdoor time every day. And so, unless the wind chill prohibits it, our kids, all of them, from 3-year-olds through eighth graders, go outside every day. Um, Sometimes it's very unstructured, but at other times we're doing, snowshoeing, hiking in the warmer weather. We've taken the kids fishing. They go skiing at the local ski hill. So we just kind of help them to learn how to, be a part of the community that way, the outdoor community,
Yeah.
because that's a big thing up here.
Yeah, yeah. Youpers.
Youpers, that's right.
Youpers. You
Yeah,
guys are
yeah,
Youpers. We talked a little bit about this before, but I was
yeah,
a troll. I lived
yeah,
down in
yep,
near Jackson.
yep.
That's funny that, if you don't know
We,
Michigan, people that live in the Upper Peninsula are Youpers, and anybody that lives
yeah,
below the bridge are called trolls. So
it was funny. Our ISD brought in John Hattie a couple of years ago to do PD for the entire county. And he was up there talking in his, I think it's Australian accent, and he kept referring to us as uppers. And somebody had to correct him, like, no, it's youpers. It was funny.
Funny. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Yeah. I love the fact that the kids get outside, but I'm telling you, the whole time you were talking about that, I was like cringing. Oh, that's so cold. I
Yeah.
know it's good. I absolutely know it's good. But I moved to Corpus Christi because I did not like the cold.
Well, and maybe we can think of it as it's just fresh air.
Yeah.
Whether
Oh,
it's
there you
warm
go.
air
Yeah.
or cold air, it's fresh air, it's
Yeah.
exercise, and it helps in their
There's
learning.
a whole, I mean, and when you get to the Upper Peninsula, you're north of many, many, many people that are in Canada. So,
Yes.
it's definitely up
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yep.
I absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So
right on Lake
yeah.
Superior. The
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my bucket lists, and I can say that I was very excited to check it off, was putting my toe in, or at least being in the water of all of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And Lake Superior was my last one. We went up to Quamanon
Hmm.
Falls.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Oh,
Hmm.
beautiful. If you
It
get to
is.
the UP and you don't go to Quamanon, you're missing it.
Yeah.
But we also did the bridge walk and all of that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, it was fun. That was a long. What is it? Five. I think we walked at least
5
10. It's 5
miles.
miles
Yeah.
across,
Yep.
but I think we walked like 10 miles that
Sure.
day. And we had a stroller, and two of this was years ago. Two because my kids are 28 to
Mm,
23 now.
mhm.
But it was fun. It was really fun. It was just a lot of walking. And
Right.
my oldest at that time, she walked the whole time. The boys got in the big old stroller
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
crashed
Yeah,
out.
I haven't done that, but it's certainly something that, is on my bucket list as well, but,
Yeah.
it's something that you have to plan for it
Yes, you do.
happening because they close the bridge and it's Labor Day weekend and there's a lot of travel, back and forth, so just have
Yeah.
to plan.
Occupational therapy shouldn't be one more thing on your plate. It should be a solution. Lighthouse Therapy offers school based occupational therapy services that actually work for you and your staff. Our OTs have an average of 16 years of experience in schools, and they support everything from handwriting to fine motor to sensory integration. And you can choose from 3 different service models, whether it be virtual, hybrid, or in person. It's OT that fits your workflow without the chaos. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn more. Yeah, it's an awesome thing to do, but you can only do it on Labor Day. They don't
Correct.
do it and they don't let you walk across it any other time of the year.
There's
So,
there's no
yeah,
sidewalk, there's
no.
nowhere for
Yeah. Well, it
pedestrians
would
at
be so
all.
dangerous if
Yeah,
you tried to anyway, because
yeah,
it's way up there too.
it
When you get
is.
to the middle, you're really
It
high up.
is.
So, but
Yeah,
it is a beautiful thing, and
yeah.
Michigan's a beautiful state. So, okay. So one of the things that we had talked a little bit about, and you talked about before we had, was your kind of your philosophy and
Mm,
how you are managing the school. And I'd love for you to give people your insight. Gosh, you have 41 years. I
mhm.
know you have amazing insight on how you manage your people and how
Yeah,
you empower people.
yeah. I think the first thing I had mentioned that, I mean, I believe this is the most important work that anyone can do, and I want, the people around me to feel the same way too. I mean, I think that rubs off on our students, on our families, and on each other. I've said for my background is in special education, but right from the start, I really wanted to kind of marry the, special education with general education. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're all students of whatever school we're at, and that should be our focus. And so I think I I believe that everyone should have a voice and be able to express their thoughts and feel like they're being honored and valued. I I used to all, we'd bring in people would bring in different people to do professional development. We'd go places to hear
Mm-hmm.
people and learn the latest and greatest. And I always thought, my goodness, the best people that we can learn from are right next door to us or right across the hall from us. Let's get our staff together. Let's give them time to learn from each other. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has areas where they can improve. And we don't have to go outside of our schools or our districts and spend a lot of money because you know to a great extent it's right here, it's right, like I said, it's right next door to you. And so that's kind of always been in the back of my mind, like, let's learn from each other, let's grow together. I think that I really kind of take a coaching approach to things. If I walk into a room, I don't want people to think that I'm there for evaluative purposes.
Mm.
I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of just
Can
there
be
to
intimidating, right? Yeah.
see and to
Mm-hmm.
learn and to, you know, because everybody is an equally valued part of the team, whether it's, my bus driver, the school secretary, the lunch lady, the cook, you know, everybody is so important. And Let me tell a quick story. My kids, I have 25, almost 25-year-old twins, and they went to school in the district that I worked at. And so they went to childcare there, they went to preschool there. So they always went to work with me. They never rode the bus until they got to middle school. And they had to be, it was a little bit far to walk. So most parents drove their kids to the bus stop. And so, they're what, 11, 12 years old the first time they get on a school bus. And I sat there in my car and I watched the bus driver just open the door, welcome every single student, greet them by name. And I thought to myself, that is how these kids start their day. And so how important is that person?
Right.
And now I see it when I help our little 3 and 4-year-olds get on the bus, and our bus drivers do the same thing. And, I- it's so important in today's world because, some kids don't hear that they're loved
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
valued at home. And so this is what a great way to start your day. And so
Yeah.
it's everybody.
Yeah. And I think there is some magical gift that bus drivers are
Yeah.
given because you have to be a certain kind of person to be a bus driver. And
Mhm.
they are the most unsung heroes, I think,
Yeah,
in
I
it.
think
Well,
so.
that and the janitors, I think
Yes,
those two. And
absolutely.
the lunch people, all the people that do the
Yeah,
behind the scenes
yeah.
stuff. But those bus drivers, man, I never in my life rode a bus. Not
Mm,
once. I
mhm.
don't know why we didn't have buses when I was a kid, but we never, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember my dad I grew up in Grand Island, Nebraska, and I remember in middle school, my dad would take us in the morning. It was a 2-mile
Wow.
ride to
Mhm.
school,
Mhm.
and then we walked home.
Oh.
This was in the
Mhm.
70s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
different world, different time. And it was cold in the winter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I don't remember why we didn't have
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even it's funny, they're gone now. I would love to know why I didn't have a bus.
Yeah.
But we never
Interesting.
rode the bus.
Hmm.
We never rode the bus. And so then when my kids started riding the bus, it was a totally new
Mhm.
experience. And I'll tell you that first you have that picture of your child, the most patient person in the world is that bus driver on the first day of school
Yes.
because
Yes.
there's no way they're getting done in time. They're
No.
having to stop and let the
Yeah.
moms take the pictures because you got to have that
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
And but it's a beautiful thing seeing
It
that.
is.
But it just everybody's got a different experience,
Mhm.
and I love the
Mhm.
fact that you pointed that out because it's so true. I never really thought about, man, they're amazing people.
Well, yeah, and I think that sometimes we forget about those people, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just really want to focus on making sure that everybody feels valued and a part of the team,
Right.
and that they have that voice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because everybody's
Yeah.
contributing equally
Yeah.
important roles. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give specifically to a new superintendent, somebody that's
Mm,
never stepped into this role before, and they're going to be doing this, and they're going to be doing medium schools, large school,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give them?
Stay positive. You're always leading by example. So be aware of that. Be intentional with your words, with your decisions, with your actions. Um, because you're the face. You're where so the buck stops here, right?
Right,
I
right.
think communication is very important. And I know it's easy for me. I have the best of both worlds because I get to be with kids every day because we are a small school. If you are a
Yeah,
superintendent in a larger area, my advice is to make sure that you schedule time to be in the schools, to be in the classrooms, to just be people know you. They have to know you. And it's so easy to get behind the desk or behind the
yeah. Caught
computer.
up by yeah,
And yeah, and so my
mm-hmm.
advice is to schedule it, put it on the calendar. And I always
Intentionality.
had best success doing it first thing in the morning. So like I was a central office administrator in special education, and I would schedule time at the beginning of the day, one day each week, to go to the school. So I did that before I even went into my office.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you don't get distracted and it doesn't get pushed to the side if it's the first thing you do.
Right. Right.
That's very good.
And I think,
Very good.
sometimes things come up and you have to push it to the side. But I think every time that happens, that's also sending a message
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, something else is more
More
important.
important.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
But I think too,
Yeah.
just advice for anybody going into education is that you just really have to keep that balance in your life, and it can't be all work.
Yeah.
You got to have fun at work. We laugh all the time, and it gets us through the hard times.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. I'm so right there with you. I love to laugh. I love to, you know, it's really interesting that you say that because, it's like I've worked from home since
Mm,
2011 and I
mm,
started this company in 2018 and it's my family and, we're a family
mhm.
business and we have staff, but we don't have a central anything anywhere, so no,
Right.
we've been together, pockets of us has been together at different times. First of all, family first, always.
Yes.
I've always
Yes.
said, if you need to go take care of your family, bye. See you
Yep.
later. Go.
Yep.
Everything
Absolutely.
else will be there when you get back, right? Um,
100%.
but it's we get together on Mondays. We have our department head meetings, and my daughter a couple of years ago, and it started because we were just my husband and I were doing a long drive somewhere, and I don't know. I looked up a bunch of jokes, and they were bad,
Mhm,
cheesy dad jokes,
mhm.
and I got on a call with a bunch of people, and they were like, "She's torturing me! Please help me! She's torturing." So my daughter then, as a joke, bought me a calendar of dad jokes. And so I have a calendar of dad jokes, and this is the third year she's given it to
My
me. And
gosh.
every once in a while, I'll pull them out
Mhm,
and I will just
mhm.
read them. And they all groan, but
Right.
but they chuckle too. And then sometimes I'll go into the chat and just like, it's a tough day. Here's some funnies for
Yep.
you, and
Yeah.
put a meme to go with the joke, and
Yes.
just
Yes.
just because
Yeah.
it can be a grind if you don't laugh
Yeah.
about
And it's,
life.
and nobody else really does what we do in education. And so I think it's a way to connect. I've always enjoyed the fact that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're, 6 months experience or 40 years experience. You're you're basically doing the same work. And so you
Hmm.
have that connection. You're not necessarily promoted because of experience, like sometimes in other fields. So you can have that camaraderie and that relationship with people who, really are in a different phase of their life, different situations with family. But when you come through those school doors, you are one. You have that, you're working towards the same thing, and so I think
Hmm.
that's pretty unique. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all want our kids to be successful. Everybody wants this next generation to have a good education and to because they're our future. They absolutely are our future.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, Mary, where would people go if they want to learn a little bit more about North Star Montessori? Or I'm sure you're on the website as well.
Yeah, so we have a website, it's www.northstaracademymqt.com. It's all one word, all lowercase, northstaracademymqt.com. Yeah, we have
Fabulous.
yeah, we have a Facebook page, Facebook at North Star Montessori Academy as well, but most things are on the website, and get in touch with us if you wanna come and visit the UP.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that in the summer.
It's beautiful, it's beautiful, yeah.
All right, Mary. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for being on Brighter Together. It has been just such a pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been a good time.